Every child in every school has the right to a well-rounded education, with the arts as an essential ingredient. In 2008, the Center for Arts Education selected 4 underserved New York City middle schools in the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Queens to participate in a groundbreaking research project funded by the United States Department of Education. The School Art Support Initiative, or Sasi, was designed to transform these arts-deficient schools into arts-rich middle school environments.
Middle school is probably the most challenging age for young people, and within the context of our educational system, middle school is the area that's really that's failing at the greatest rate. These were schools that we could call arts-poor schools because there were no arts there, so when you brought it in, you could get a real sense of the impact that the arts had on the culture of the school.
Sasi was envisioned as a comprehensive, holistic system with instruction and communication flowing in multiple directions. Principals were encouraged to become true leaders in arts education, able to organize, implement, and galvanize support for their programs. Each school was assigned a coach, a seasoned arts educator who worked with the principal to build and evaluate quality arts programs. Coaches met regularly to share information about how best to serve their schools.
A coach is like any other helping person. First, you have to know what the purpose of the program is and what the goals and objectives of the program are so that you can help focus on those at all times.
At Middle School 223 in the Bronx, Principal Ramon Gonzalez worked with his coach to use the arts as a tool for activism and reform.
You have to understand what 223 was like before we started. It was a school that was extremely well run with wonderful kids from the poorest congressional district in New York City, but it had no arts.
I never saw myself as an art advocate. I saw myself as a reformer. I saw myself as someone who wanted to make change in kids' lives. Many of our kids come to the table with very finite experiences to deal with issues. And those experiences tend to just be in the neighborhood. And so we want to give them experiences outside the neighborhoods or various experiences within the neighborhoods. Those experiences often revolved around using the arts. Because I really see it as a reform tool. I really see it as a way of engaging kids who normally have been disengaged for years. I think going through the Sasi process has made us far more demanding. Our expectations have risen and our kids' expectations have risen so that now they've become more demanding. And so the movement has been from waiting for people to come solve our problems to us solving our own problems. So now I'm at a point where I want to impact the community and impact other school districts and get people to change their mindset that art can be a reform tool. It's not just a tool for enrichment, but it can reform your school.
Each site's progress was different. Celeste Douglas Wheeler of Middle School 57 in Brooklyn was initially uncertain about the place of the arts in her school, but her views shifted as she saw major improvements in her school's environment.
MS 57 was like a school that I think I grew up in. A school really that didn't have an arts program, a school where teachers really didn't communicate with each other and where students really, to me, didn't feel like they were part of the whole process. I don't think people understand what my children go through. You know, I have many children who live in shelters. I have many children who have lost their parents through violence. When I first got to my building, we'd had an issue of violence. We had had a student bring in 2 loaded guns. I didn't want that to happen again. I didn't want to have this school be known as a place of violence. I didn't want this school to be known as a place where kids just came in and left. Now, Sasi, what they do is take us to visit schools that have arts programs further ahead. And I remember sitting in a school that looked like mine. I could tell they had spicy children, because you just know when a school has spicy children. And I remember sitting in an audience and watching children who looked just like my children. And actually watching one student in particular, a child who looked just like a child in my school, sing, and sing with her whole heart. And I thought to myself, why can't this be my school? And why can't I give my children these same, opportunities? And I said to myself, maybe this is the way I need to go. I think Sasi's been able to change my mental model about the arts. When I first got here, no one talked about the arts. And now it's like everybody is interested in the arts. And not only they're interested, they want to be part of its survival in this school. For the first time, we have an arts calendar, we have performances, we have a curriculum that's aligned to the arts, we have artists that are coming in at least 3 times a week. And this wouldn't happen if it wasn't for the teachers beginning to see that the arts are important. Then my parents are starting to see their children in a different light.
When I first started volunteering, it wasn't a lot of parents. But as I started advocating for our school and telling them what we had and about the Sasi program and how we should get our children more involved in the arts programs, we had more parents ask questions about the Sasi program.
The first success with Sasi in my school has been me. And when I say that, it's because it's changed my way of thinking. And I think if you can change someone's way of thinking, you'll be able to change not just them, but the masses that they lead.
At Junior High School 231 in Queens, Principal Emmanuel Lubin used Sasi funding to support academic development and increase student engagement.
The year that Sasi came into our lives, we were able to acquire a full-time art teacher. And since then, over the last 4 years, our students have had a rich experience in all art forms. The students have had music, dance, theater, and visual arts. And I think one of the greatest impacts can be seen in the attendance. The year before Sasi, our attendance was at 89%. The last 2 years, we've averaged over 93%. In fact, this year, we're closer to 94%. They're happier. They want to be here.
The thing that I've enjoyed most is getting to learn new things about music that I've never learned before. Like how to read notes and how to know how each note sounds. At first it was a little hard for me because the music notes look the same sometimes. But once you start to learn them, you start getting it more, and it is a little bit like reading a book.
Everyone's more engaged now. I've noticed that they've improved on their listening skills. They're more attentive and they're more aware of what to listen to, how to listen, and what to listen for.
If I didn't have this program, then I don't think that I would know as much. I wouldn't be as disciplined. School would not be as fun.
Data indicates that Sasi has had a positive impact on student academic progress. External evaluators conducted a 4-year qualitative and quantitative analysis comparing Sasi students' language and math scores against those of a control group.
Sasi is using the infusion of the arts in the curriculum of middle schools to improve instruction, engage students, and thereby improve their academic achievement in English language arts and math. The results for the Sasi schools relative to the match control schools over the course of the 3 years were consistent and impressive. Over that time, the Sasi schools showed increases of 8 percentage points in English language arts and 9 percentage points in mathematics over the performance of the match control schools. The implication clearly is that the Sasi model does seem to be having a positive effect on the academic performance of students.
At PSIS 208 in Queens, Principal James Philamy saw a direct connection between Sasi and his students' academic growth.
They definitely have developed a sense, a critical sense of looking at real issues that are connected to their everyday lives.
In a work of art, what information can changes in value offer us? So if one, for instance, the still life we looked at the other day, right? There was, I think, 3 objects. Some were in front of others, overlapping others. So what value changes might you find with one object in front of another?
It might show depth, like
what was the word?
Depth. Like,
excellent. Depth.
If it's
We've heard position. Very good. Explain what you mean by depth.
Like when you see an object and then you see it far in the background. Like
our children have been able to produce more, and the scores have soared from what they were 3 years ago, and we see a much greater progression in terms of not only of what we produce in terms of scores, but what it is that our children become aware of.
Sasi is about whole school transformation. Through this program, educators and parents have learned that the arts are an essential ingredient of every child's education.
I think one of the most important things is that those leaders understand the power of the arts in education and how to utilize the arts strategically to reach their goals.
The Sasi program has shown that the arts can transform schools into places of inquiry and wonder, where excitement, imagination, and possibility thrive.